Thank you so much, Doctor. And of course, we are talking about the vicious attacks on taxis in Bamenda, which is disrupting greatly livelihood. And of course, we have another voice on the panel. There is going to be, a spew of information because as far as intellectual capacity and information is concerned, we can vouch our heart to Mr. Sama Abang-Mogua. You're very much welcome, Mr. Sama.
Thank you, Mabel. Thanks for inviting me once more to your program. I extend greetings to the millions of viewers of High TV and to my fellow panelist, Dr. Christian Bett. It's a pleasure for us to sit and have the free space to discuss and share our views, say the little we know about the things that characterize our polity, our social community, and in a bid to see how we can enlighten and how we can stimulate critical and rational conversations on these issues with the intention of building and changing mindsets. We do not come with an all-knowing aura. We come in our very modest attires as social talkers, and with the hope that whatever little ideas we chip in here would stimulate the public to see things differently and analyze things differently and live differently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sama Abang, socio-political analyst and also the founder of the Facebook or social satire Wunamumu Dondo, which is very renowned on Facebook. We have been saluted by death today, where we lost in a fatal accident an ex-indomitable lion player, Lanji Ngomo, in the Bamenda Yaoundé stretch of
Yaoundé Bafoussam stretch.
Yaoundé Bafoussam stretch of road, and this has been saluted with a lot of empathy and an agile gentleman who has retired in the world of football and having a lot going for him, and it is actually putting the nation on her knees, and it is a day of mourning. Mr. Sama, did you stumble on that on social media, and what was the emotion that lingered for the time you received that information?
One death too many on our bad roads, on our death traps. I've heard people say that the Yaoundé Bafoussam Douala and Douala Yaoundé axis. I've heard people call them the axis of death because over 60 or 65% of the deaths that are recorded in this country on our roads happen on this axis. And I even heard somebody say categorically that there is never a day that an accident does not occur along this axis, this triangle. That there is never a day that there is no fatal accident on all of these three roads, so this axis. And it's unfortunate that at a time when other civilized countries are improving on their road networks, improving in terms of size and dimensions of the road, we are still limited to renovating our roads with the same dimensions, even when the traffic congestion is overloaded, as we all know. It's unfortunate, but again, we also urge road users to be more prudent. As bad as the roads are, as narrow as the roads are, as potholed as the roads are, we should be more prudent, and that applies to motorists and to pedestrians as well. We can only pray for him and pray for his family.
Thank you so much. And Doctor, Mr. Abang here has talked about prudence of road users, but as somebody who has, gone to the driving school, sometimes it has been, a recurrent debate whether or not the high scale of death tolls on our roads is blamed on the non-prudence of the users or the dilapidated nature of this route. What would you say?
No matter how you try to be prudent on our road, I call the road ancients of days. That road we have now is ancients of days, because you see countries like Tanzania, you see countries like Mozambique. They don't have population, they don't have too much cars on the road, but they have good roads. We have too much car on the road, we have bad roads. And you see the government officials with a lot of money, borrowing money to renovate, to fix road, to do so. I mean, it's as said, no matter how we are prudent on the road, the bad road becoming bad. And we are living in a country that whereby I see called the administrators ancients of days, where instead of you to renovate the road, people are running with road with 10 lanes, 4 lanes. This nowadays, we are still running with a road which is termed to call in my own term Moyondo, small, tiny road, and bad in that nature. That no matter how you try to dodge this pothole, you are entering to another one. Sometimes you are moving on the highway, you discover that like the tires are like you are moving on a very bad road inside a forest. Whereas you are on a road where they call it National Road number 1, 2, 3, or whatsoever they may put the names, and you feel like you are somewhere else. It's absurd. At least we have come of age that we have to. There's a paradigm shift when it comes to infrastructures in nations today. One of the things that makes any country to develop faster and improve on the economy is road infrastructures. And when the road infrastructure is not there, it slows already the economies. It brings a lot of negative turns, so far as there, and a lot of losses and wastage of resources, and thereby making the economy not to grow. The economy is limping, as we find in our own country today. And it's so bad in such a way that the authority themselves, when they see such a situation, they prefer to go and bring a gendarme to come and make camera cache or cameras to see who is running speed instead of fixing the road. It's very bad. We should learn. Aline, we are in a modern world where we have to learn from others. Maybe sometimes when you go to social media, and some of us we have traveled out of this country, where you see a country like the Chinese building a whole good road inside rocks, inside this thing, building good road on air. Those are Chinese that in those days they were born from Cameroon. Ask yourself, are we a cursed country? Or all the people who are living on chairs or that they are cursed? Or this country, it's ruled by the spiritual world, on the world, whereby we are ruling under a spell for the ancestors beneath the rivers. Because we don't understand why we see our authorities. And the authority Mabel is that in this information that we see Pierre Ngumu, a young man who have contributed in this country in all dimensions to make sure they rock the flag of this country, die in that sort of funny way. It is absurd. And the authorities, they don't bother. They don't bother. They live like, I mean, these are young people that have gone out of the country, that have gone to different countries, play football in different countries, they have seen good roads, good infrastructure, they have enjoyed it in other countries, but in their own countries, it's like I mean, I don't understand. That's what's going wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a very sad situation there, Doctor, and just amidst the handful of beautiful things which you've been able to enumerate, one of the highlights is these routiers are focused on speed other than, making sure that the road.
And maybe the point that even they caught you with speed, the highest they want money. When you bribe the one, you give them money, they put in their pocket, and the returns continue. I don't understand what are the mindset of the government. What are because we know that good governments or any good governance runs with policies and with laws. What are the rules and the laws on the road? And what are the ministry? There's some ministry in Cameroon have been saying this thing over and are still retreating in this platform that they need to close. I don't see the use of Minister of Transport. I don't see the use of Minister they call it what? They call that ministry what?
Public Works.
Public Works. I don't see what they should close all those ministries. I don't see the use because we want to have companies international, that's not an international company, national companies from those ministries that they are even they don't come up with new roads. I mean, to make sure they maintain the old ones. We should be seeing all this road stretching from the Douala, all those people who field company working there day and night to make sure the roads are even good, even though they are small, but they don't care. So I don't know what is the intention of the government is to kill their citizens, or what is their intention? Because the citizens, they need to rise up to push the government to work or to define the working condition of the way they want to rule this country. Because this country is not for a particular person, it's for our country, it's for all of us. And all of us have played a vital role to make sure it moves smoothly. So somebody cannot hijack the country and feel that the country is their country and you behave anyhow. It's not the right way. We are in a modern war.
Mr. Sama, talking about citizens hijacking what they are supposed to do and making sure that they plunge the government to work. Now, elections are just lingering by the corner and gazing at us in our very eyes. Do you think we can do that in just one medium? The clarion call should be the advocacy behind the use of the voters' card.
Maybe I will shock you. I do not subscribe to that fanciful dream. I don't. I am more of a realist than I am of an idealist. As much as we all advocate for an ideal environment, an ideal society, but I look at what obtains, what is real, what is obtainable, what is on the table. Mm-hmm. And I would shock you, as I've shocked so many others before you, that I don't waste 1 minute advising somebody to go and register and get their voter's card as a solution, as a prerequisite, as a panacea to the governance problem that we have in this country. No, that's far from it. As much as it is like giving it is like bequeathing so much wealth into the hands of a child who is not prepared to manage wealth, and so it is useless. He will definitely waste it. We are talking of an overhaul of an entire electoral system in this country, not voters' card, because we have seen cases where people have massively voted in certain constituencies, but nothing changed because the laws and the rules governing elections in this country have been truncated from the base. And so no matter how many of you come out to vote and vote massively, we are talking about the implementation and the application of the laws. That is why I am of the school of thought that believes that the solution is an overhaul of the electoral system. I don't want to, I'm very much afraid to say that it could be a violent seizure of the rights of the citizens by the citizens, because that would be like I am inciting people to violence. I am just afraid, not that I don't believe in it, because I do believe in it, but I'm afraid to say it in public. And so you now understand what I believe more in, whether it is even in the change of the electoral law or the revolution that takes place in other countries that we see them succeeding. So, but let it not be said that I have said people should go out to the street, but I think that method has worked in some other countries. May it, well, I don't want to say may it work for us too, no, I will not say so. But even though the urge and the temptation to say so is actually strong, but I'm just resisting that demon in me not to say. But I think that just merely asking people to go out and register is a pipe dream in futility if we do not sit down to look at what has been the cause of governance failure and electoral failures in Cameroon, which is not about number of people who vote, but how the voting system, the voting mechanism is managed from start to end. So I don't waste my, I sympathize with those, and I have a feeling of sympathy for those who are actively telling people to go and register, because that's where the solution is, without saying that people should not go and register. But I laugh at those who think that massive registration and massive voting is the panacea, because it is not.
Anyways, I would not want to make this particular show. I can see some of your reactions already about the viability or the potency of the voters' card. I think that we are going to garner the courage to set another date for that particular topic. But anyways, I really want to thank the gentlemen here. about their intake, and of course, everything could be linkable or traceable to the voters' cards and governance, and all of that. And that is why we are here in the first place talking about the Anglophone crisis, which has crippled and crept its way into the vicious attacks of commercial taxi drivers in the northwest region of Cameroon. Doctor, I visited the northwest region 3 days ago. I only returned yesterday in the morning, and there is a stifle, there is a curfew. These people dread not just ghost town, but numerous ghost towns, and you need to see the panic, down the spines of these people. How did we get here? How did we get here? And do you think that the Northwest, at a certain point, is getting a little bit exaggerating? Because most of them, even though the Southwest region is in a crisis, but they think that it is somehow a safe haven. How did we get here? And yes.
Yes, maybe before I come to that particular question, I want to a little bit add something on what my co-panelist, Mr. Sama, was saying. I like the way he dressed. He's dressed like a British man, and I like that of dressing. This country is going down the drain. We are in the brink of collapse. Cameroon is a brink of collapse because those people in powers, they don't reason anymore. They don't have a brain. Let me put it that the right way. They don't have a brain to reason or to govern a country that people, because they have rolled everybody down to rubbles. People don't reason anymore. And what we were asking Mr. Sama about using electoral voters card, I believe that there will be a revolutionary card, not a voters card. What we need in Cameroon is a revolutionary card. That's why I said the opposition parties, they have not played, they don't understand how to go about to rescue this country from collapsing. And I want to advise the opposition parties, it's not only for them to come and make noise that they want to do coalition and whatsoever. They have one thing to attack. And until they succeed, as I was telling one of the politicians, that until you deal with Elekam and you are confident that Elekam is independent and you are sure that the outcome of Elekam will be transparency without no favor of any party, then you can ask me to vote. That's when you can still, I can say maybe, I can start saying maybe go and vote, because I know that their vote counts. But if that is, as from now, it's a dream, it's an illusion. It cannot happen.
If I may, if all the youths or most of the Cameroonians who are, bona fide Cameroonians and have the appetite to have things work or to roll out the government, if at all, and they go out in their numbers and they cast their votes at the polling stations, do you think Elekam is going to have an influence?
Already, Elekam will have an influence because this thing is not done on the field, it's done on the office. No matter how you go to the field, you say you want to vote. Let me give you one example. One time, I think it was election before this, I was in my fall when the crisis started. When the day of the election, nobody was there. I myself, I was on the road. Nobody came out. But if they tell the thousands of people that they said they voted in my vote, you'll be shocked. So it's a game that they have been playing from time immemorial. So, and they have all those tactics and strategies all put in place. So what they are saying that they should go and vote and register, it's not a difference, because they have already created a lot of ways to put people in the place. One, they are using a police station. When you go and register, go to police station to make an ID card, they send it direct to Elekam. I'm not asking you. It happens in Limbe. Go to Limbe Center Police, you see Elekam being there. Elekam should not be in the Center Police. They should have their own places where people can come and vote. Because there you are putting people under jurex. They're not voting from the heart. You are forcing them to vote, to register. Sorry.
And voting is a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. Which means you are compelled to do that. And moreover, you go again to take all those pulling or a lot of those voter ID card that are not be collected. So they use all those things. So when you are saying all those things, and that's the strategy they are using. You saw behind the scene. So except the opposition goes to the stronghold room, which is Elekam, and strike until they know that those guys that are on the top of Elekam, they are guys that they will work and know that it is an institution, maybe, and that institution needs to be strong. Elekam needs to be an institution whereby it's there for the nation, it's there to stand for the nation, it's an integrity for the nation, it's an institution that defines the way the country moves and the political landscape of the country. And anybody in that institution must be there under oath. And the parliament need to vote a budget for that particular department, which should not be influenced by anybody. And until that happens, we are still in a mirage. Coming back to your point of Northwest and Southwest, and I still believe that this crisis, the government have just manifested its narcissist mindset to their population. I still believe that in any country, when people start to request for something that is just or is their right, I believe that is something that is very important for you to look into it with a lot of concern and with a lot of commitment to make sure that you solve their problems. And when, for example, you are in the house with your wife or with your children and they are asking for something and you are unable to give them what they want, eventually you are causing them to rebel. You got the point now. Now let's look at what is happening in Norwest today as come to the crisis. Comes to the crisis. You said when in the beginning of this crisis, the boiling point was southwest. If you can visualize it very well, the boiling point was southwest, where all the stretch of Kwakwa, Bole, Ekumbe, and other side they were so furious with a lot of gunshot. People were dying, a lot of fighting, and some people were making some statement that this thing have started, and the Northwest is calm, is a safe haven, and Southwest is on fire. Any crisis have a strong point at any given point of time. Maybe this time it's from Northwest. It's on Northwest, and I've been there. All these things that happened last week, I was in Bamenda. There cannot be 2 weeks or 3 weeks that may be in Bamenda. When they burned that car, the Bonaman car, I was in Bamenda. I was in Bamenda. But the problem is that the government is the one fueling this crisis, maybe, because we cannot be in a state like this where people are barely trying to manage themselves to see that they surface and come out from this pain and trauma that they plunge themselves into, and instead of the government helping the population, the government is. I was not seeing the no need of curfew put in Bamenda and to tell the bikes not to move. There was no need for that. There was no need for that. It was not need for call for. So government is the one funding the crisis, because it hadn't been the government was so wise and so vigilant and intelligent. They could have even asked that could have even come to that point to say, I want to impose the bikes, equal for the bikes, and provoking the boys to do what? To impose their own. But I was in Bamenda. If you look at it critically, the boys are even succeeding, because if you go, I was in Mobile at 7:30. Taxi was, bike were moving, but no car was moving. Which means they're even more serious than this. Let me tell you, maybe it's not about Bamenda being so stronghold, minerals ghost town, and they're respecting it. When a snake bites you, you have to run when the military sounds a small signal that is coming. So Bamenda people are victims of killings, burning down their properties.
The Southwest are not?
No, they are. As we said, when all these things are going on, we don't find it. Like, for example, what happened in Boya, the guys come out and do what they do, and they go back and just become calm. We have it also in Southwest, but the landscape of Bamenda is different from that of Southwest. So when we look at the structure on the way they are structured, they find themselves, they don't need to be on that way, because there's no other way. Because in Bamenda, actually, you don't know who is who. You don't know who is who.
All right, Mr. Sama, we are caught up in a situation, in a conundrum where two people are having a burden in their hearts, but one seems to exhibit or exercise the range in their hearts even more effectively. Is it that the vexation at the level of the Bamenda man is more than that of the Southwest man? Because it's the same crisis, but the temperature is different. If you go into Bamenda, you don't need a suitor to tell you that this is, you just feel a shiver down your spine and some level of, the crisis aura. But here in the Southwest, it is relatively calm, I must say. Why is it so?
Some years back, I think, was when late Prime Minister Emeritus Simon Achidachu was still in power. The erudite Peter Isoka did an editorial, I'm sure it was on Cameroon Calling or it was on some other program on national radio. And the caption of his editorial was, "Who is a Bamenda man?" Which should tell you that there is an identity called the Bamenda man.
Okay.
And in the 90s, it took a Bamenda man with that Bamenda identity and mentality to brave all odds to launch SDF amidst the threats and the intimidation and the tyranny at the time. A Bamenda man. It took a Bamenda-led group of Anglophone parents and teachers trade union to launch, to fight for the GCE board, which was created in 1993 with a Bamenda man as the first registrar. That's a Bamenda mentality and a Bamenda identity.
So what is it?
Wait. So may I tell you one thing? It is an identity issue, a personality issue, and a set of people who think that when they deserve it, they go for it at all costs, even at the risk and peril of their own lives. Maybe even with a parent who has 4 or 5 children, those 5 children have different personalities and identities. They behave differently. There is the one that will not take shit. There is one that will take it, eat it, and swallow it. Because they are born and they grow up differently. There is one that will stand and fight for the family name, even at the risk of his own life. Against all odds. Even when the other 4 are just seated, you say, you don't do that to my father. You don't call my father's name and get away with it. You don't try that with my family name. But when he wins, the glory is for the family. Not for him. He was fighting for the family interest. And that may be the Bamenda man. So it shouldn't baffle you that when it seems to be calmer in some parts, it is hotter in some other parts. Even within the Bamenda polity, as you may say, it is not every part of Bamenda, the Northwest as I mean, that is volatile. There are calmer zones, there are green zones, and there are blue zones. And so if I were to answer your question directly, that is the Bamenda man by his nature, and who thinks that we would fight it right to the end. And that is why you see the SDF, the Northwest region remained the last bastion of the SDF to fall. Even when SDF had lost support in the West, in the littoral, and in the Southwest, where it could only manage some areas of Kumba. But their parliamentarians, a good number of them, before this socio-political crisis, still came from the Northwest, because there is still that identity.
So is it going
that is why I have just given you a litany of situations where the Bamenda mentality has withstood all odds on national issues.
I'm going to
even the SDF.
Still on this point about the Bamenda man, does it suffice to say at this point, cognizant that the Bamenda man in its personality is somebody who is a go-getter against every odd, that the Southwesterner or those in the Southwest region of Cameroon exhibit, exercise, or they are enveloped by cowardice?
No. Far from that. Again, as I said, I wouldn't reduce the personality of this other child to a personality of a coward. No. While the other child is the firefighter. No. But I think that it has to do with the perception of issues and the personalities that they have developed over time. But whatever stands. Maybe let me tell you that I granted an interview somewhere, and the journalist who interviewed me asked me, but when, I mean, in the heat of this teachers trade union crisis of OTS, and she asked me, why is it that the teachers in the Northwest and the Southwest are not really seen to be vocal on this issue of OTS like their Francophone counterparts when OTS was really hot? And I said, no. It doesn't mean that we do not support them, but we think because we have benefited from the fruits of their toil, we support them. But because of the crisis we have had in the Northwest and the Southwest, we have decided to be a bit quiet now for a while, so that our own children can go to school. And so there are situations that may require a part of a country to act differently, not really being reduced to cowardice. And if you were to like further dispel that illusion that you seem to be making, the Anglophone crisis as it is now in its 8th year, from its inception, had a good number of sons and daughters of the Southwest involved, and who are still involved, but maybe differently, because 2 children have different temperaments, and they see things different and they act differently, even if it is for the goal of the family at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you so much for that particular input, Mr. Sama. And somebody's reaction is like, Mabel, that was a bullet right there to Mr. Sama. And of course, as smart as he is, he has, a way of coming to the show with several bulletproof. But then again, when two elephants are fighting, the grass seems to suffer. A while ago, Doctor, you said, in all honesty, that the government is spurring, the government is animating the crisis. I would not want it to end. Is it the government in the bushes? Is it the government picking up arms? Is it the government who will chop off the fingers of those who are unable to sing the Ambazonian anthem? Is it the government in this atrocious act?
Well, maybe, Ambazonia did not start with the Ambazonians. It started with the government. The Ambazonians did not start with the Ambazonians. It started with the government. You can remember that years behind, the anthem of the military when they were doing his training was Amba, Amba, Ambazonia, where I myself know that there was something like Ambazonia. So they were singing Amba, Amba, Ambazonia. So it started with the government itself, which means that there was something in the making history that they were projecting and telling us that we don't know. So it's just the action. It's just the action, and they were catalyzing. And that something is in the making. Amba, you are in the making, but you don't know that you are Amba. And now the Amba have surfaced itself, and the government able with its military able to manage them. Because you yourself, when you're small, you hear them oversing when they are parading their street. Amba, Amba. It's not me, it's them themselves. It means that the government itself, the Amba was inside the government. So it was inside the government that a woman would birth conceive with a pregnancy, and we're just waiting time for the child to come forth. And now it is in front of us. And now we are shouting, and the government is using this crisis also to borrow money to do its own things and say, okay, since the child come, we need to see what we can do. The government need to be smart. There's no country, any country in the world that like war at this particular junction of time. And I said one time that when war is going on, there's a way a country that is smart, a government that is smart, try to quell those war, or try to bring the war down. It's not about making football matches or taking MPs to parade around villages or give people rights or whatsoever. It's not that. They need to sit down at the table, discuss what is at stake, accept it based on compromise, accept on those compromise, and accept the right of everybody. You know, in international law, even a criminal have his own right. Even the man that you call with a gun, he have his right. You have to protect it. I can't remember on social media. I just got the victory of Julian Assange. What have been Assange who have been a whistleblower that America want him with all its might, but at the end he have had his freedom. You got the point. So no matter what, so we should not feel that we won't have come and we take these young military guys to go and waste their lives. Or the young civilians or civilians or young guys, they call them ambassador or this man to go and waste their lives. We need to come to compromise, because that's why the government have failed, and the government up to now have not even come to realize that they need to make things to go right. No matter what is happening, we know our history. We know our history, and there are people that even worldwide you cannot see somebody's history. That's why Israel is fighting Palestine up to today, because. So Allah consider that Israel must be wiped off. They have a history. And what Israel is fighting today is fighting for a history. And there's nobody, even America, who accept that he undermine his history. So people are fighting for history. We have read this thing on books. We know what's happening. We know where we come from. We know where we are going to. And you need to kill with that reality. If you don't, you will cause problem. But the problem is just that the government is so arrogant, in its attitude of responding to that action or to that convocation by those guys. I quite remember what happened in Bamenda was a convocation that the government was supposed to be matured and so smart to avert this problem that we have today. But when you are narcissist, when you are codependency, when you are so arrogant, when you think that you are in control and you realize that you fail to understand that even when you are a father, your son can grow up to a level whereby he can slap you.
Let's look at the drift. You have spoken a lot about the inception of the Ambazonian, and it was an intercourse which happened a long time ago, even before some of us came to the face of history, and now it is being midwifed. Who is midwifing it? Is it for personal gains, or is it still, the goal chasing about the independence that we are clamoring for, or their disguised motives? Who is a midwife?
Well, the midwifing here is it's not even talk about the midwifing. It's talk about putting things straight. Putting things straight, we need to accept the reality of who we are. We need to rest. I used to say that in Cameroon we have to accept, like you believe me or not, there's a Francophone community and there's an Anglophone community. And both of them have histories. And those histories are at part of their identity that nobody in any ways whatsoever will try to seize it from them. And nobody would like for you to remove you from your family to send to another family that honor without your concept. You got the point. So, and what we find, how we find ourselves, what is happening now? The government is trying to play for time, because what I still believe is strong in my mind that by the end of everything, every war, there must be a sitting down. And when you sit down, we'll go back to what the Bible says, that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. This crisis will only come when we start to expose the truth, and we start to talk the truth in sincerity and without looking at faces of people. I quite remember this one time. We have some was it gossip from Yaoundé, where one minister, I think one minister, I've forgotten his name, was talking to one Anglophone minister and said, "Who's to Amazonian?" So you see the concept. So it's pushing to them back. So no matter how you are doing what you are doing, you are one of the people. So it's a history. So what we are doing is that it's not a matter of play of time, and the government is enjoying it because of the resources. You know, any country in the world fight for resources. One a land, grab a land whereby you will also be in control, you will also benefit its own economy and whatsoever. And I believe that's what the Land Republic is doing. And I believe that.
Now, if your sons and daughters in the bushes
yes.
get to withdraw their arms, ammunition, would you still, or would the government still have a strong hold in influencing the crisis?
Maybe nobody's in the bushes. These guys are in town. And let me shock you that there are people in government that they are also part of this amber guys you are talking about. If you are not, I will tell you that there are people even within the level of the core of ministers that are in that are part of this thing. There are even francophones who are discontent with the government, who are supporting and sympathizing with these people behind. They will not tell you. They will not tell you. They are. And they know. If you, I will not call the media here, but if you go to, if you want to permit me, I'll call the media whereby you see even the francophones, they are giving our own history more than us. They are telling us the Anglophone, the Southern Cameroon, our own history more than us. So the francophone is giving you a details of what this constitution of this relationship is all about and how it must end. You got the point. And some of the intellectual community of the Anglophones or the Alex, they're hiding behind the shield, behaving like a narcissist, only to do what is benefit them. But it's true. We need to shout more until the government our history. And that is a history. Maybe no guys is in the bushes. These guys are in town. Because when you talk about guys being in bushes, I don't know how long somebody can stay in the bushes for 8 years or 9 years without having food and water and still stay in the bushes. The only thing that the government or the other people are claiming that this guy in the bushes, there's no guy in the bushes. These guys are in town. And let me tell you the truth. The method in which the government is going about solve this crisis or to go about what they say is war, that's what is killing more people on the field. You know, at one point, I can't remember at one point, let me give you one example, right? When Afghanistan had a crisis, when there was a crisis in Afghanistan, when America was involved, even though America involved in fighting the Taliban, there was still dialogue going on behind the scene. Now there's a war between Palestine and Israel that is going on now. There are still talks going behind the scene. So if government want to shun the talks and using their propagandas to tell them that these Aboriginal guys, this one, well, if these guys not to come from the sky, they have something in their hand that I'm talking about. And if somebody is talking something and with something on his hand that this is what I'm coming for, I'm hungry, and you want to give the person their child food, the child will always shout now, I want for food. So if they have whatever they have in their, what is their history, or is what they discovered that, or we are Southern Cameroonian and the government have not treated us well, it's time for us to clamor for a good, life or for our children and our future, and the government don't want to give. Let me tell you the truth before I drop my mic. The government caused this crisis. Let me give you why. If this country, I was just saying one thing, like, if the government was a government like the other countries where they were giving good amenities, good roads, good infrastructure, people could have been thinking about going to war.
But are you aware there are people in the crisis who do not, or picking up arms, who do not even know the raison d'etre, why they are there?
Why they are in crisis?
Of course, why they are fighting, for what cause they are fighting.
I don't think so.
And it is evident even in the way that they are manifesting.
No,
according to some people.
I don't think so.
Okay, let us find out from a gentleman who has been trailing the crisis, every step of the way. And if you want to find out quite a good number of things about the crisis, then you must visit the Vatican. And by the Vatican here, I mean we are joined by somebody who is called Mr. Pope Bertrand. He is a socio-political analyst, and anything that has to do with politics, we have the gentleman here jumping to give his own little view and his own little scent. I'm very happy to get the fragrance of your skin after a very long time. You're welcome, Pope Bertrand.
Thank you, my moderator. Sharing this panel today, I'm so happy meeting my senior man, Barrister Sama, somebody before a mount of this courage I've always admired, and meeting Doctor also. A lot of things have been said here that really struck me up. Well, we'll go back to the A's before we get to the Z's of the Z's of the crisis. This crisis, the founders of the crisis were just announcing and reminding the government of what needs to be done. Having listened to Barrister Sama, Mr. Sama, he spoke a lot of things which made sense, but he doffed a lot of, he pat the back of Northwesterners so much. But I must remind him that Southwesterners has been at the forefront of this fight, even though we are not differentiating and fighting for who has been there or not. Southwesterners have always been there in the days of NCNC. You should remind me of any Northwesterner who have stood at the helm of president of the NCNC. Southwesterners, yes, they may be cowardice because they don't have that effrontery, that zeal, that courage of carrying arms, but they have felt the pinch for a very long time. Even at the level of the consortium, we had Barrister Bobala and Dr. Niba Fontaine. Those names remind me only of Southwesterners. But of course, there are Anglophones of one mother, one father, of the same motherland, which our uncles, fathers, and grandparents, 1957, when they crossed the river to Nigeria and remember the family back in Cameroon, came to live together in harmony. Of course, I won't debunk the fact that the Francophones have forgotten about our way back in the days of German, and they felt again that we were strangers. So the Anglophone crisis came up for two reasons which we best know. Because the Anglo-Saxon system of education was being tampered and likewise our bilateral judicial system. This was some verification that was made. And as the doctor earlier said, the government has also shown a bad faith, because by the time the consortium was spearheading the ramification and rectification of our coexistence, the government did not handle the crisis very well at that point. I want to say that when we hear about things fall apart, or rather the center can no longer hold, it depends on who is at the center. When the center is frustrated, when the center is weakened, when the center is no longer in order, you see, the ends start to agitate. That's what has happened. When you talk about bad government,
and are you linking this to the burning down of the cars and what is happening?
Yes, I'm just plotting a graph to come to where you want me to land. You see, all these things are as a result of the weakness of the government, the what I would like to call the undeserving persons of the government, what they call the unmeritorized personality which we employ in our civil service and official positions. Because had it been truly those who are at the helm of these different offices had the ability, capability, and foresight to look and mirror the two cultures, the two inheritage, they would have known that truly this is a call for concern.
Okay, now
let me land my moderator. Mm-hmm. This is a call for concern. I want to say that the Anglophone crisis, whether you pick it from the tail of the Northwest or you pick it from an angle of the Southwest, we are all Anglophones, first sight, and Cameroonians in general. Mm-hmm. And now, I have seen, like the doctor earlier said, infiltrators have come into the crisis for different reasons best known to them.
Now, landing back to
Now,
what I was trying to say.
I want to tell you the question you asked
Mr.
me
Paul,
about.
landing down, a lot of people who have been victim of this burning down of vehicles and all of that, which seems to be some the sources of their livelihood. This is a fresh attack. Usually they'll give long sleeves in courts, and but now the strategy is different, and we are dreading a time where this may be imposed even in the southwest or creep its way into the heart of the southwest region. Now, what is the way to go? What is the way to go, considering that the commercial man, who is out there trying to struggle to put food on his table, is the one who is being victimized? What is the way to go?
Thank you, my moderator. Good thing you haven't go out of my line. Now, one thing we should understand is Cameroon was structured in such a way that we cohabit. Why do I say so? By the preamble of our constitution, it states that we can cohabit in any region, in any province, and nowadays regions. So I want to put it first that the government had the chances to coil, to level the ground, because this is not just an Anglophone crisis. It is a general Cameroon crisis. I may be misquoted if I use the word Cameroon crisis here. It's a Cameroon crisis centered in two regions, two disgruntled regions with their different heritage and cultures from the rest of the 8. That's because I bet you we have many of our brothers and sisters who are married in courtship with the different 8 regions, male or female. Let me be vocal a bit. You have Northwest guys who have married Yaoundé guys. You have Southwest guys who are married Northeast. Intercultural. So if it pinches you, it pinches me. And now the government stand in that place. That's why I always say that the government has the potentials to, let me learn 1 minute. The government has the potentials to level the ground for everyone. But the government is playing its game because we have a government institution where we don't know who to trust. We don't know who to trust.
So, and how is that affiliated to the
now? Why is it affiliated? Is because we blame the government because we pay our taxes. Even as of now, sitting on this panel, we pay our taxes to one government, and that is why I hold the government to book. We pay our taxes to the Republic government, and that is why I hold them to book. They must account for the tax when need be. And this is the need of the tax. They should use the taxpayers' money and program, reschedule as many dialogue as it will cause the settlement of this problem.
I think that's a very powerful.
Now, the second thing I want to tell our brothers of the Northwest and Southwest is this crisis was a crisis to stand up, defend, protect the inheritance of the British Cameroonian, the Southwest man, the Southern Cameroonian. And if today we turn up chopping our own hands, burning our brother's taxi, doing that, the road that the government of La Republique has delayed for 30 years has come in the 31st year. We go back to burn this road. What are we doing? Where is the direction? Now, the second thing I want to lay is, I may be of the opinion that whichever government leads, I follow. And if you know that you are in a guerrilla war, you have staged a guerrilla strategy, rather. You have staged a guerrilla strategy. You are not in command.
Fine, before I get to the command, let us talk economics a little bit. This is getting our whole economy in a sinking sand. I appreciate the fact that you know, one of the highlights of your moment with the microphone is talking and telling our brothers about their initial interest to defend and to protect. Mr. Sama, the burning down of crisis of the cars, I beg your pardon, is tripping the economy in a sinking sand. Do you believe that? And how do you think that the consciousness of those who are picking up arms and perpetrating this evil could align with the sole focus of what they were initially trying to pitch from the very early beginning?
Maybe I will shock you and your viewers with one anecdote. I have a friend who is in Norway, and she told me that when she gave birth to her last child, I was in 2011, 5 years before this crisis started in 2016. That 2011, one of the most fearful, dreaded, and famous, or should I say notorious, no, one of the forerunners of the Anglophone or Amazonian activism now, Ayabacho Lucas, came to the hospital to welcome the baby. And what he gave as a gift to the child who was still in the baby's cot was a flag, blue and white, 2011. This thing came to the limelight in 2016 and 2017. 2016 was teachers and lawyers, and then 2017, Amber took over.
A long time
But that was when somebody had already
envisioned.
That should tell you how long it has taken people to plan. And that what is happening now and prolonging is a continuation of a plan that had been put in place. So I am telling you this so that you should see where we are coming from and where we seem to be going to. Should also tell us that even without the teachers and lawyers' grievances that were raised by the consortium in 2016, there had been issues that were being shelved and maybe waiting for the right moment and the right opportunity. He very gladly mentioned SCNC. SCNC started in the early 90s, in the 90s. And we saw on every October 1st, then government will send troops to the northwest and southwest to intimidate and to frighten and to ensure that SCNC, civilized and very polite SCNC militants do not come out. And you see how it now catapulted to Amber. You may ask me what is the correlation between what I have said and the question you asked. It should now tell you that we are in for more of such situations. In the entire Northwest region now, as I speak, in the entire Northwest region, there is no vehicle with a CEMAC number plate. None. Even the vehicles of top administrative officials. There is no vehicle. Even by the time you are driving from the West region to enter Mataza, at the last control, if they see you and your vehicle still has a CEMAC number plate, the military people at the checkpoint advise you, where are you going to with that? A friend told me how it is a gendarme officer at a control point who gave him the screws to clear his car and remove the CEMAC number plate, and that if you don't have your chassis number plate, write it with even paint or even ink. Don't enter Bamenda with your CEMAC number plate. That is an ultimatum that has been in place for more than 3 years now, imposed by the separatists. Maybe I am telling you that there is no senior administrator in the Northwest whose personal car has a CEMAC number plate. None.
Even the military cars.
None. Is that not going to be exaggerating, Mr.
I am not exaggerating. And that ultimatum was passed that it should apply in the Northwest and the Southwest. The Northwest, the typical Bamenda man, has respected it to the letter. No one else trouble. And let me tell you that because they have burnt cars before because of that number plate embargo, they have killed people because of it. They have seized cars because of it. People have been kidnapped and paid ransom, huge ransoms because of it. People have been killed because they defied that ultimatum. And that is why this other ultimatum, senseless or non-senseless, which has been imposed now, is still putting the Bamenda man within the line of crossfire. Because There is a law in this country instituting a unique color for taxis.
That's yellow.
Yellow, nationwide. And how then do you explain that the people in Bamenda would follow an obscure ultimatum and change their colors? You are putting them in the line of action of the military, who will not only prosecute them, lock them up, they would extort money from them. They would arrest you, tag you as being a separatist, lock you up, impound your car, and take money from you. If you do not paint it, and you happen to find yourself within the red zones of Bamenda or the Northwest, around my 90, around my 8, Mancon, around Tuba, the boys are there waiting for you. Even within town, the burnings that have just taken place took place within town, around Church Street, Jericho, within the heart of town. So how then do you talk to the vulnerable taxi owner or taxi driver in town?
But when you start burning trailers, don't you think that you're going outside the radar?
No, I didn't see a trailer being burned because of color. Because the ultimatum that was actually imposed was for taxi driver that we want blue and white colors, not yellow colors again. And having tested the waters, it did not just start with the ultimatum on Semak number plate. No. They have imposed 3 weeks lockdown and people respected. When one of their generals was killed in Batibo, big number, they imposed a 1 month lockdown and people thought it was play. The Bamenda-Manfred corridor did not work. There was no car plying that road for 1 month except military convoys.
Even the military
for 1 month. That should tell you that they have tested the waters and they know where it is deep and they know where it is deeper, where it is deepest, and where it is shallow. So they think that this is another ultimatum to like take the war to the government. The only unfortunate aspect there is that those who suffer are the ordinary citizens who are caught in the crossfire. Which law do you respect? But having respected the law on Semak plate for more than 3 years, and the military themselves to have respected, even administrators have respected it, the separatists have been emboldened. We have succeeded here, we did this, it went through, we did this, it went through, let us try this other one. Unfortunately, I have written on my Facebook platform severally, Una Mumu don't do, and I really think that the Mumu don't really do, because it has gotten to a level now where you take certain radical actions until they become counterproductive. Counterproductive means that they start instead costing you the little gains that you think you had made. Because as we speak, is the denizen of Bamenda, is the ordinary taxi driver in Bamenda, is the ordinary taxi car owner in Bamenda, is the ordinary citizen of Bamenda comfortable with this decision? No. Is the ordinary man on the ground comfortable? No. But can the ordinary Bamenda man or citizen of Bamenda stand against that imposition, that ultimatum? No. Can you open your mouth and say, we don't want this? The fear factor comes in. And so, what you find is a game of two wildcats, which puts in danger, political danger, puts in danger, economic danger, put in danger, even the danger of livelihood of the ordinary citizen who would not go out on certain days to do business.
Mr. Sama,
the business is crippled.
Said, I can see the strand of compromise. Asking somehow, you are speaking even when you're not speaking, that one of these parties need to be compelled to compromise in order for relative peace. This is visible in the chassis number glaring example which you've taken. Is that what you're saying?
We are in a deadlock.
Okay.
We're in a deadlock where two extremists, the separatist extremists, have imposed a seemingly impossible ultimatum. And government, to also uphold the authority of government, not to show weakness again one more time, will do everything to make sure that this one does not go through. Because let me tell you that this would test the strength of administrative authority in Bamenda. and government would not let it go by. Let me tell you that even people whose cars came originally in blue color, even without a white paint, just blue color, have started suffering. Mischievous security officers are already taking advantage of it. Once they see a blue collar, if you remember, maybe you are still young then, when this crisis started in 2016, we saw people marching with wrapping papers, plastic wrapping papers of blue and white, and we got stories of market women being harassed, arrested, tortured for holding a market wrapping paper blue and white color to the market. Because security forces took advantage of the opportunity to fleece money out of people. Which means that it will get to a point where even putting on a blue suit like yours in Bamenda is a risk. Especially if it is blue and white. Because that color factor, that flag mentality has now become so much of a phobia. My worry is government would resist this ultimatum to its last. And government will not resist it by making statements targeting Amber. Government will not go chasing Ambers that you are the ones who have said that we don't want this. No, government would hit hard on the ordinary man. So the casualties, the sufferers, those who bear the brunt and the burden of this is the ordinary man, the taxi driver and the taxi owner. Right. Because government will not let this one go through. It would have realized its mistake with the chassis number issue. This one, I fear for Bamenda people. Many more taxis will be burnt. Many more people will be kidnapped. Many more cars will be destroyed. And many more people will be arrested and their cars impounded, and they will pay hundreds of thousands to mischievous police officers who are taking advantage of the situation.
So we are caught up in a milieu, in a setting where fulfilling government quests, you are put in a death trap, and fulfilling Amber quests, you are building a trench for yourself. In this point, just like, loosely borrowing from what Mr. Sama said, that this is going to test the strength of administrators in the Northwest region. Doctor, what do you have to say?
Obviously, they have tested the strength of the government, the military, and I want to tell that they have already gone 45% of what they are trying to achieve.
They who, in this case?
The people, the separate guys that they are imposing that they do. Why? In war, maybe it's what we just call compromise. There are some certain things that we need to understand. We need to understand when it comes to war that the government have not understood. Sometimes there are some things that you don't impose on people.
Like what in this case?
Look at what's happening in Kumba. What happened in Kumba, the DO have asked everybody that you take a pass to work on Monday. You come and give a pass to work on Monday. And if you don't have that pass, any other day, like today I was coming, they were holding back, they don't have the pass, the other bike, they don't have the pass, they were running. And when they go to job office, they're taking money. So they are making money out of it. So when it comes to the poor, the population are also watching you. That you are not telling them that don't do this thing from a heart. You are doing it because you want to make money. I'm telling you what's happening in Kumba now. Go there, you check. Ask them, you are a journalist, ask the bike man, do an interview, go to officer, they'll tell you the truth. Go there, even today, you will see them standing on the road. What are they doing? You are flaming the crisis. You are flaming the crisis. Because there are some things that you should look at it like that and let it go and bring a background strategy to overcome it. And how do you do a background strategy? You have to overcome it.
Do you know that Buea is workable because of strategies like that?
But the problem with Buea,
no, doctor.
That's why I'm saying that. Excuse me, let me calm down. Calm down. Buea is working because of the landscape. Let me put it again very well for you to understand. And Buea is a mixed population. Let me put it that way very well. Majority of the Francophones are in Buea here, authority are in Buea here, and the way the landscape of Buea is, advantage are being used for some people, let's say elites, who are Southwestern, to do what is happening here. And some people are sympathizers, to crisis, to say that this thing not happen the way it is happening.
Going back to the scenario in Kumba.
Now, come back. I'm just saying what's happening in Kumba, and I'm not saying what I heard. I'm saying what I've seen.
So you are condemning the strategy?
Yes, the strategy, because they are making money. In Bamenda, what's happening?
And now my question to you as a panelist on my show is, don't you think Buea is workable Buea is a relative safe haven because a mayor had introduced those kinds of strategies and local administrative heads impose those kinds of strategies. We have had, in the yesteryears where shops are going to be sealed, they give pass to taxi drivers and bike riders as well.
Maybe I'm telling you that those strategies, let me indicate the government is the last straw. Because when those strategies backfired, the government don't have no strategy again to apply. First of all, let me tell you, even in the case of war, it's even illegal when you talk about internationally or nationally, when you talk about private property. Government don't have no rights whatsoever, according to the law of this country, to lock somebody's private business paying taxes to the government. You have no right. Whatever you are saying, no matter whether it's war or not war, people are escaping and go to their country, people are going anywhere, people are tired and want to go and look at the shop because they're not in the shop. They are crazy. That's madness. You don't do that. That is arrogance, and that's violence that the government is applying, which is wrong.
But even if it is fanning to flames the crisis,
it's not fanning to flame the crisis. They know what to do. Why the government not bring the services down to discuss with them? That's what's happening worldwide in crisis. When crisis is concerned, that's the way they manage crisis. It's not imposing things on the person. Okay, now let me come back to what's happening now in Marwest and Southwest. Look at Bonaberry. Let me give you technically. Look at Bonaberry. Have you discovered Bonaberry? Every Southwest are talking about discovered that most of the cases are only put in blue and white. Technically, have you discovered? Look at the plates. Go look at the plate. You see blue. You see the blue plates. You see the plate. It's not even more the type of those cereal plate like that. Most of the players go and look at it. If you are not observers very well, you see they are blue. And sometimes they put that is already telling you that it's a mindset. See, there's one thing maybe that you must understand. When it comes to something like this, what the war we are fighting is ideology. Let me tell you, what Mr. Samadi and what my brother says here is all from the NCNC to now is ideology. And let me tell you that every tree in stomach that are perceiving it and they are catching it. And if the government do not sit down and say let's talk and come to a compromise, the next some years to come, government will shout what is happening. But let me tell you, because rumors are going up, and many people are coming. Some friends are making that saying that these guys that are mobilizing, even from abroad, and they are mobilizing, they are picking a strategy and they don't want to make it known to anybody. Okay. So we are just saying that we don't know what can happen in the future. Okay. So when you are working with unknown, you should be very careful because you don't know what are their strategies.
Let us look at those victims whose livelihoods are, slandered on the altar of, respecting ultimatums from both government and those picking up arms, the separatist fighters. Mr. Sama, you have to say something before it has.
I listed the litany of instances where separatists have tested the waters and they know where it is deeper and deepest or shallow. Maybe in most of the functional schools in the Northwest, quasi-functional schools that have a semblance of functionality now in the Northwest, do you know that the embargo on the putting on of uniforms is still in place?
Yeah, all over.
Do you know that even in some areas in Kumba, next door, it is just of recent that I heard that schools in Munya, next door, have started putting on uniform. But do you know that even within us here, even right down to Moyoka, even in those government schools, the flag of the nation is still not permitted. And they don't want to hear you sing the national anthem. And they don't want to see a teacher of the French language. That is how far they have tested the waters and how far they have succeeded in making certain ultimatums. And because of those successes, as I tell you, even the few functional schools in Batibo, where I come from, where they have allowed that certain schools should function either as mission schools or as community schools, nobody puts on a uniform. No inspector goes there. They send their own inspectors. They send their own inspectors to go inspect whatever they are inspecting. And at the end of the day, there is no semblance of the authority of the state. And let me tell you that one of the slogans of the separatists when they started this thing was make the territory ungovernable. And this recent ultimatum is a perpetration of that action, trying to make the territory ungovernable, even if at the end they do not succeed to have their independence. But we have frustrated government and we are frustrating government. Maybe how do you envisage, how do you phantom an entire region where there is no car plying the road with an official number plate? How do you even think about that? And how has it lasted? How has it perpetuated for 3 years plus with even administrative officials and security officials respecting it. I have just told you of a case of a friend who got to somewhere around Babaju, and it is a gendarme officer who gave him the screwdriver that removed that one before you cross Matazo, because you will not enter Bamenda town. Give him and advise him, if you don't have your chassis number plate, use a bone marker, use ink and write it. Don't go with this. Which means that the danger is evident.
It's visible.
The danger is at the doorsteps of the people.
And
if you tell me that even in the Bamenda town itself, we still have children going to schools, in assorted attire, and there are schools within the Bamenda metropolis where the flag of the nation does not fly, even at the lowest mast. It does not fly. Even at less than half mast, it does not fly at all. And we think that it is normal. My only worry, as I said earlier, is that this one it has reached the crescendo of affront. It has reached the crescendo of confrontation. That my fear, which is not my wish, my fear is that government would retaliate, and it will not retaliate against its enemy. It will retaliate against the ordinary victims and casualties, who are the civilians. Because government will not arrest an amber boy to go and lock him out. You will give an
and talking about the amber
they will simply arrest and penalize the vulnerable taxi drivers in town, who are just victims like all of us.
I'll be coming to you. I'm talking about the amber boys. A while ago, Pope Bertrand, doctor refuted the claims that these amber boys are not in the bushes. I don't know how true is that assertion.
Well, that was his opinion.
Okay.
But keen into your questions, over time strategy changes. Yes, of course.
And talking about strategy, doctor here says that should have been the last strategy, the last straw. So do you think that this kind of imposition would have come way later?
Well, that depends on who dish out the different decisions.
Okay.
Maybe mirroring what Mr. Samuel said, that mirroring all of us are co-panelists on the panel. We have been on this panel and other panels be giving proposals on how the government can quell this crisis, and they have their own strategy, and their strategy, mind you, their strategy is working for them. The government strategy is working for them. I want to, before I get to your question, permit me with some minutes. Now, they have deserted the Northwest. I believe that if we are honest on this platform, we will tell you that life only ranges around upstation, to be honest. Now, the government, why I want to look at, not even the government, the Francophone plan in this crisis, because it's an Anglophone crisis. I want to look at what we have a crisis, and we have planned that we're putting in place. Number plates, abolition of yellow colors to white, that's fine. Now, they have that strategy to desert our zones, make it uncomfortable. Even in Boya, the places that breed is Boya and Limbe. Kumba is living by the grace, not to talk of Manfi, Mbonge, and the rest. You see, so we all know as fact finders that our schools, who used to be at the leading race of GCE, CAP, Pobatwa, Baccalaureate, have systematically dropped. The increase in littoral center in terms of house accommodation has increased. It means more money goes now into the treasury than us. Maybe not plying the roads on Monday and Tuesday will feel you are winning, but they are winning bigger. So that is where I want to differ a bit with my brothers, that We are winning mean, and they are winning big. So, if you don't change your strategy after proposing your factors, it means you are not a good negotiator.
Okay.
Now let me learn.
To whom is this bullet, or to whom is this fact facing?
Now, the fact is facing us Anglophone to refine the strategies we have put in place.
Okay.
You understand? Refine the strategy we have put in place. If this crisis is a northwest and southwest crisis, if I go division wise, maybe I'm wrong, we have 13. And if 5 are not functioning, 7 are functioning, they don't see themselves losing at all. You get it? Now, for the fact that I bet all of us here, despite our preamble that says we can spread anywhere, most people have uncomfortable leave their quiet zones because of this crisis. We have cocos farmers who have traveled overnight, changed town overnight. We have brilliant students who, because of frustration of their parents, cannot afford a school in the center town of Buea or Yaoundé Douala. You are now probably in the bushes, or you are a truck pusher, or you are a mean farmer, which means the original status quo that God gave you for your family, you are losing.
And this applies even to the commercial taxi driver in
That
Bamenda.
is what we are saying.
So it means all of them should go to the farm.
No, that is what we are saying, that the strategy that the Francophones are putting, they are reducing our landed population, firstly, and secondly, they are building their economy. It is what they call extraction.
But do you think it's a fair thing? By Francophones, I want to know if you're talking about language or government.
I'm talking about the system. Like even the
But why label them Francophone and not government? It's government. Why Francophone?
No, because
they are Francophone community.
There is a Francophone community.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back now that even in the heart of Bamenda and Kumba Bonge Manfi, we have grounded our economy. But there are Francophone gendarmes, police, inspectors, taxpayers there, stationed. They don't go out. They sit in their houses. At times they travel over the weekend. They don't come up a month, but their salary is still passing. Should that call for a rethink in our strategy?
Okay, gentlemen, we take on a few reactions. Let us see what the viewers are saying, and then we continue the program. This one says, God is still being patient to Ayabacho and his cohorts to complete their activities or repent. The punishments are waiting you. From Cornell. Whatever that word means, thank you so much. These are the people we have been supporting, dear Anglophones, from Derek Spencer. Derek Spencer, thank you. The taxi issue will call for the inclusive dialogue this time, sure. We pray the Anglophones should choose who to represent them at this dialogue. This one is Nancy Edmond, all the way from Bukwango. Thank you, Edmond from Bukwango. And how is Bukwango doing this evening? Living in a foreign country, enjoying peace is that country and destroying that of others. Kama is Rilo from Jude Asanga. Thank you, Jude, for giving in your little cents. This one says the burning down of cars. Why only in Bamenda? Bamenda people have been sympathizing with terrorists, justifying their actions by blaming it on President Paul Biya, drinking poison and expecting President Paul Biya to die. Now the terrorists have turned the rifles towards them. They are just harvesting what they sowed. They kept blaming President Paul Biya for declaring what they call war on their people. My regards to Mr. Samuel on the panel. His name is Mr. Sama from Francis Drake. Thank you so much, Francis Drake, for your contributions. This one says, my name is Mba Jemes. I hope you people have seen the results of what is happening in Bamenda. Of course, that is what we are talking about this evening. Thank you. Tapan once said he can destroy what? Oh my goodness, this is a little bit sensitive. Can you write clearly so we understand what you are trying to communicate. Brandon Bill says, I am so disgruntled. Thank you for this program, Mabel. Thank you too, Brandon. Amber is destroying, but the Northwest man will surely kick out Amber out of Northwest for our own good. Peace Nation says, the truth is that Amber is a disgrace to us as a people. Kevin says, Higher Heart High TV. Ivo Mu says, very interesting program. Thank you. Francis Drake still says, they don't finally press pause for Bamenda. Bamenda is a deadbeat. Thank you so much. Peace Nation, from the beginning of Amber, it was clear that Amber is a business by kidnapping people for ransom. What is Mr. Sama saying? Okay, thank you. Batibo speaking. I am from Batibo and I'm enjoying the program. A shout out to Mr. Samuel. His name is Mr. Sama. Thank you. You want to react to anything that has been said?
Yeah, I remember I said on this platform, as I did on other platforms, even on my Facebook platform, Unamumu Don't Do, I said that as long as there is still this show of intransigence on both sides, we should definitely just be ready for more grievous measures, more difficulties in the days ahead. Yesterday was the 26th, I'm sure, of June at about 4 p.m. The first explosive that we have had so far, improvised explosive device, was detonated along the Batibo-Bamenda Road in the middle of the Trans-African Highway Road, precisely in a village in Batibo subdivision called Oshun. And the pictures, Mabel, are quite grievous if you were to watch them. A crater of approximately 3 meters diameter has been created in the center of the road with a depth of more than 1 meter. So you can imagine the destruction it is going to cause to that portion of the road. The driver who was rushing from Batibo to Bamenda to beat the 6 o'clock curfew was caught in that trap. And we hear there were 3 persons in the car, including the driver. The driver died on the spot with 1 passenger, and the other passenger is seriously battling between life and death in the hospital. And that should already tell you the extent to which it is going. And that, as much as you may hear that, I watch one of my Facebook friends, Kedia, today, showing pictures of how he was in Bamenda, which is good, and how things have normalized and life is good. These are some of the things that will push separatists to want to manifest the abnormality of life in the Northwest and the Southwest, to show that, contrary to what you are saying, we are still in control, or you have not beaten us out of the game. It's unfortunate, but I think that if I were to make an appeal to the separatists, I would ask them to redefine the bigger picture in this crisis. What is the bigger picture, and what are they really out for, and what are the risks and the cost for them to attain what they want to attain? What would it benefit them to achieve independence and have no population to live with, when they would have extinguished the entirety and the totality of the population of the Northwest and the Southwest? May I also just say that government has a lot to do, especially with how it clamps down on the victims of this crisis, who are the ordinary civilian population, who are simply struggling to stay alive within the middle of 2 evils. I just pray that the governor and the other administrative authorities of the Northwest would be more merciful in enforcing the yellow color as against the enforcement of the blue and white color of the amber injunction givers. Thank you, my people.
Thank you so much. We take on a few reaction more, and then I turn to the other panelists that we have on board. Thanks for sharing this program, High TV. Thank you so much. Like this reminds me of the conversation I had with a Ben Sikine. He said, "These boys them know they outside na to joko. They go just change them for you anyhow you want them." When I asked about the police, he responded with, "Nay, policemen them they even more understanding." Oh, I get it. And this is from Fabulous. Thank you so much. A lot more have been burnt in recent days, and the burning keeps going. The security situation in Bamenda is becoming worse and worse every day. If we begin this way, then how many people are we going to be talking about? It means we are going to be holding these kinds of programs on a daily basis. My regards to Doctor on set. I think we need more of these kinds of people to loud it. I think it's a little bit confusing what you're trying to say. At the time you're saying if we're talking about burning down of taxis, and later you want Dr. Till. But thank you anyways. His name is Alberto Mondene. Thank you, Alberto. Ethel Kim says, "What a powerful program. Oh my God, where is our lively Bamenda going forever? This is really sad. How can these guys be so cruel to their own brothers?" Thank you, Ethel Kim. Chai Bamenda, this is very bad, Massa. For Marcelo Fungo, thank you for this program. My regards to all the panelists. You all are making a lot of sense. And I am learning from Kevin for them. Thank you, Kevin, for them. And where are you writing us from? I can see yellow taxi passing by in Bamenda. What can be the crimes of the other ones that are being burnt down on a daily? Please ask the man on the panel. Well, I don't think the man that you're referring to is going to have any response. Well, I think I'm going to shush for a little and catch my breath. Doctor, a lot has been said.
Yes, maybe when we are saying that we are helpful, you quite remember that last, I think Monday before last, we have an issue where in my 16 people died because of crossfire situation here in my 16. So I don't think that in Manfi we have what's happened in Manfi and other areas that we are not, we have not on the know. What we are saying is that everybody, when it comes to war, look what's happening in Ukraine. Russia have its own agenda that Ukraine cannot be a NATO country on its doorstep. See what is happening with Hamas and Israel. Everybody have its own goal. And I tell you that when anything concerns war, don't expect somebody, as you say, government will not tolerate some things, and Amber will not tolerate some things. That's what you have to first of all understand. Our government will not tolerate that thing that government will not tolerate, and that thing that Amber too will not tolerate. And what are we saying on this platform is that, me personally, my opinion is for the population is that be very careful. Nobody is your friend. None of them is your friend. Neither the government or Amber is your friend. Be careful to your own security, because life it's not a photocopy life. Life don't have photocopies. Life is one. You leave it, you go. So what the guys are doing, they have their own strategy. Everybody has their own strategy that is putting forth, and we still believe that what happened in Afghanistan, we are so crying that because we are seeing that in the long run it may happen in Cameroon, because Afghanistan fought civil war with the government backed by Russia and America for some long time, and after that, you discover that the Afghanistan came back, or the Taliban came back into power, and they are the one ruling Afghanistan today. I will still believe that sometimes when crises are going on like this, both sides we need to be merciful to the common man, because sometimes when we say we want to do this, because if sometimes I don't look on Amber causing atrocity. Look at the military. Sometimes you go Bamenda, you see they carry thousands of bikes out of Bamenda, going out of and some people and I try to find out to say they go and sell it or go and tell their family members. Those are also atrocities that is caused by government officials. Sometimes even in Kumbaya you see trucks passing with good bikes, new bikes. They will intimidate people, take their new bikes. So what are we saying? That in the both sides, maybe we should help the population. We should help the masses. Because each and much as we are telling what is happening in Bamenda, you should first of all know that there's also international law that guides any war. And that's what happens in this crisis, because when the Amber and the military they were started doing, because not only the military, also the Ambers, because if you want to talk about burning of houses or burning of cookies, government also burns. Because you want to talk about Kwakwa, who burned Kwakwa down? Was not the Amber guy who burned Kwakwa. It was because the battle was fierce and they have to put their own measures to make sure that they clear it in their own way. So everybody has his own plan. So we are advising somebody to make his own plan. The advice I'll give to both of them is that please, they should take caution to the population, to the civilians, that they are there, they are innocent and vulnerable on the field. Because as we are saying like this, let me give an example. Here in Boya, what happened? They bought the locking shop. Maybe those shops that they locked. How did they open the shop? You went and paid money for the locking shop. Did you put in government treasury? No. It entered somebody's pocket. And what are they happening? It means they are doing that for their benefit, not because for the crisis. They're doing that for their
Thank you
their
so
benefit.
much, Doctor. And we are going over to the next topic. I would have really loved for us to, exquisitely discuss on this topic because it is worth every strength or every sweat that is broken. But then again, let us creep into the next talking point of the day, which is, Cameroon, which has become a Pandora box, and with lots and lots of evil being seen and detected on a daily. On Wednesday, June 12th, we have the Minister Delegate in charge of Defense at the Presidency, Joseph Beti Asomo, who detected about 1,395 fraudulent certificates in the gendarmerie. So firstly, gentlemen, Mr. Sama, you were one of the people who called me on the phone and, inspired the topic, which is, something I thought I could have ignored, but it's something that we should really add our voices. If we have corruption even at the level of the defense setting, then what has become of us?
Let me just do a correction there, correndum. It's precisely 1,312.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,312 cases that were detected midway into the process, and I should commend the Minister Delegate for that. That the checks and balances were put in, and rather than wait when they already go through and they go through training before you start detecting them and then dismissing them, that would be, you would have trained more criminals and put them into the public marketplace of insecurity. Thank God that he detected them still at the stage of the exams, which is ongoing. So it's commendable. But permit me, Mabel, say that the phenomenon of fake and forged and falsified certificates is not new in this country, and it's not new even in the whole world. I followed a documentary on BBC some years ago which reported the fact that thousands of fake and falsified certificates were leaving UK institutions of higher learning, like their universities and their polytechnics, and going to Eastern Europe, India, China, and the Bangladeshis and the others, which means that it is not a gene that is found only in the DNA of nation Cameroon. It is it is a natural gene that is found in every bad society, as is just aggravated by the fact that our country is a non-functional country, a country that has lost a lot of its functional DNA, and we are just trying to wobble within the system and see how we can come out of it. Let me tell you that it is a systemic problem which is deeply rooted in the system, right from identification, the process of identification, civil status registration documents of birth certificate, the issuance of even driver's licenses, academic certificates, and even professional certificates. Maybe it is unfortunate because the Minister Delegate, the Presidency in charge of Defense, may be fighting a systemic war solo. He may be fighting a war that is bigger than his ministry, but again, I hail him because he is waging the war within his own sector, hoping that all other ministerial officials will be able to also contribute in their own way to fight the same war in their own ministerial departments, and even in the private sector. We have had cases of people appearing in courts in robes and wigs as barristers when they are not. We have had cases of people who have taught with fake certificates and have contributed to the failures and the successes of children, even with certificates that they did not acquire. We have had cases of fake medical doctors in this country. There are many. We have had cases of fake nurses. There are many. So the phenomenon of forged and fake certificates in this country did not start now. I'm not sure it is now that you started hearing about Kumba certificates. We have heard about Kumba long ago, and then it moved to Mutengene certificate. Now they are talking about Bonas. Bonas is the heart of Yaoundé, the student residential area where the phenomenon is. Because, again, as we speak, Mabel, it is not getting better. We are moving from the analog age to the digital age, and now we're going to the world of AI, artificial intelligence, where people can even mimic your face and your voice. Meanwhile, you are in your bedroom sleeping. Somebody is on a TV set with your face and your voice and talking, and people know that it is you talking. Meanwhile, you are somewhere else, and they would indicate that it is a live program, and everybody is seeing you live. Meanwhile, it's not you. So, artificial intelligence is changing the world for good, but mischievous people are there who would want to change it for bad, which is what happens in every society.
Now, you've mentioned the Kumba certificate, Mutengene, Bona certificate, and all of that. Does it have to do with a poor level of authentication? Because, you know, how now the minister delegate has detected, you know, midway into the process, fraudulent certifications and documents. How is it going to be for every other sector where we have fraudulent documents narrowing, you know, exceeding its way, maybe to the top or wherever, progressively? Now, is there a middle through which we should authenticate our documents?
Yes. We need to set up a digital system for the country where we register all international universities, get contact with it. That's why they say we are in a digital system. You cannot follow a digital well and you are living in an analog system. That is where we start having problems. Somebody will tell you, I'm coming from Bahrain with a certificate in law management. You don't have a website and a digital website where all universities in Bahrain are being registered, where you check the year the person was enrolled and where he is coming out. That's one of the drawbacks, the leaking age where we are lacking and where we have not built up to. But one thing with our government in Cameroon, it cut across all ministries. Whoever declares that we have into a digital age, we have left 3G to 4G, all of us follow. Or whereas there were supposed to be institutions who would tell us clear that as of the state of the country, we have not reached the digital age. But because our country tried to climb the ladder fast to meet up with the demands and the benefits that comes from this digital world and AI, the AI intelligence, we just assume that we are there, whereas the underground work has not been done. I just give an example. We created the Bilingualism Commission. Up to 3 weeks, you see letters, even from the National Assembly, still in French. How do we have a Bilingualism Commission?
Of course we do.
Is it working? Is the arm working? No. There are documents I barely read because they come in French. Now let me just drop. The second thing is, I see it as a strategy. We will not deny it. We have had a huge fraction of military people who have deliberately given up their jobs. Some have run away out of this country because of the unnecessary conflict we have joined to the Boko Haram. So now, those who are even in the military and have grown to settle ranks, some of them don't want to come and risk their life, though they say military is order. Now, this is why I say this is a strategy. I earlier said it's a strategy. The powers that be are are using those who have the courage but not the qualification. Thank God for the minister which is at the end. Do you want to say that from his high ranking right down to the last grade could not take that? Then who are into those offices? That's why I say it is a strategy.
Okay, besides being a strategy, let us also look at some other, corners of it being a strategy, Doctor. Would you narrow this or want to look at it from the lens of, job seeking? We have desperate young Cameroonians out there who can barely put, 3 square meals on their table, and the launching and recruitment of this gendarme, police, and military is a leeway for them to make the ends meet, and anything that they can do in the seemingly porous government, as some people are going to put it, in order that they can afford even 3 square meals, they can do it. Do you look at it from that dimension?
Maybe I don't look at it from that dimension, because truly the government is really porous to an extent that it is the system, all the mechanism that build the system is all collapsing. It's not from that system, from that, because if you look at our educational system from our university and other schools, you see thousands of people are graduating year out without no jobs. They are going, GC is just coming out, you see 1,000 of people pass on the honor level and advanced level, they don't have a job. So why we talk about that? It's the system. You have ministers, you have directors that they have lost integrity of upholding this country, where somebody can sit in the office and take his phone and call, okay, my junior brother is out of work, please can you just put him on a job without knowing his qualifications, just put him because a big person and put him there. No, that is the problem that we have. We have bypassed our law, we have bypassed our policy. We don't more work with the rules and regulations that were put in place. We bypass them. I can remember, I think it was in this same platform that, or on that platform that somebody was talking about the issue that happened between Eto and ministers, and they were asking me that the minister said that he has taken high instruction from the presidency. The president is not above the law. This law is governed by the law. It's not by the president, but the president himself. So the president need to respect the law. And if the president does not respect the law, the president need to take to justice for you to violate the law of the country. And that is the thing that they have been doing in the system for long. You just pick somebody, you don't care whether you have gone to school, you pick somebody who is even an addict or a drunkard or whatsoever in the country, because you are a captain or you are a big man in the military or you are working in a good office, you just push the person there in the system. And the person enter the system, so far the person have a medical number, that's all about the person. The person is mimicking the person. I've been in Legion office here, and I was surprised that a complaint was laid in the captain of police with one state, and was given a small amount to write the complaint because he cannot write it. It's so absurd. Go and do research. Sometimes we need to go to offices and do some research. You'll be shocked what's happening in our system. It's because the people on top themselves. That's why I say that maybe in this country, if we want to stop corruption cannot start from the base. It must start from the top. Because if the minister is uncorruptible and the subordinate, they know that this minister is uncorruptible, they will start automatically. You will also be fighting to not be uncorruptible, because you know what the consequences you will face after that. So it is the system that they themselves, the authorities, have put in place, and they have been managing the country for that in that direction. Anyway, the minister is just applying some ways to project his good patriotic mindset or patriotic
But you laud him for that. Stride, for that attempt.
It is what he was. I thank him for that, because that's what they were supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Normally, everybody that's going in for arming, for any recruitment, the hierarchy was supposed to go through scrutiny, and it was supposed to come with a database with all the information, the profile of that person being and they sit in the panel to see that those who are going to whatever offices or whatever position they need, they deserve it. And let me tell you the truth that there are a lot of people in office that don't deserve it. Let me show you that even Jews, is an office that the work is being done by the secretary, not even by them. Mm-hmm. So what do we want? Maybe we want this government to fight corruption with truth. And one of the tools to fight the corruption, put people who are competent to the position that they deserve.
Put people who are competent.
Don't carry somebody who have done physics to go and put a minister of territorial administration, or take the minister, somebody have done forestry to go and put a minister of sport. You see, you'll be confused. The mindset already. That's not what they study in school. So eventually, what happens? You see, there'll be that type of confusion, and anybody can manipulate them because that was not their views. So we are praying that government should fight it, and we thank the minister for that gesture, for that revealing it, because some people they'll see like that, they'll not reveal it to the public, and it's their job to make the public to know what's going around in the government. So we pray God that all the sector should involved to scrutinize, even though they'll put them there when they come to scrutinize, they start using it as a way to make money. People will follow the document behind, they'll give their money behind, and they'll making money in the system. The system, we'll pray that they should change, because there are countries that are moving beyond that. There are smaller countries that are moving beyond that are fighting corruption, and that's why they're moving. It's shocking that smaller countries are in countries like Soweto, they don't have population even more than 2-3 million, even more, they are going more better than us. They are fighting corruption, even if you cannot be perfect, you cannot be 100%, we are striving to do that.
Yeah, but you're striving to,
strive to do that.
Thank you, Doctor, for that, I'll call it punchline. Mr. Sama, we are almost dragging the curtains of the program, and it has been a wonderful moment with you and the other gentlemen on the panel, but maybe you want to give in your little final droplets before we kiss you out.
Permit me delve into another issue of interest. Mabel, you, in your intro into this program, you asked me about the mobilization factor for voters registration, and I asked you about the new finance law bordering on the issuance of ID cards, which raised the stamp duty for ID cards from 2,800 to approximately 10,000 francs, excluding other charges of how you have to establish a certificate of nationality and certifications of your other documents. But the stamp duty has been raised officially from 2,800 to 10,000. And at a time when you need a national identity card to register for an election, and you ask me that, is this government really willing and interested in seeing many more people register for elections? How do you encourage people to register for elections by quadrupling the stamp duty rates for ID cards, which are a requirement for you to register, which also tells you that the government either does not want people to register many, does not want many more people to register for elections, or is not bothered about how many people effectively even register. As I said, that my problem is not with the numbers of people who register for elections in this country, but the laws that govern elections. Mabel, may I shock you to tell you that people register and indicating their location of residence is My 16 Bolifamba, but on voting day, their names appear on an electoral list in Boyatown or in Bova, where they will never even know, but their name appears. And so it tells you what can be done, even with the numbers, what can be done to remove the carpet from under your feet overnight. Maybe I may differ with Dr. Christian a bit on the efforts of the minister delegate for justice in his fight against false and fake certificates. As I said on another platform, it is a commendable fight. It is a commendable effort. My only prayer is that we should see it spread into other sectors of the public, other areas of the public sector and the private sector, and even parastatals. We saw Madame Nalova when she was the Vice Chancellor of the university, how she dismissed so many persons who presented fake certificates and were recruited. My only worry is the absence of a deterrent factor. Deterrent factor in that there is a law both in the penal code that criminalizes and penalizes the use of forged academic certificates. But how many times have we seen people detected with such forged certificates dragged to court and sentenced, so that it serves as a deterrent to like others? How many times we have had people? I have people who were caught at the tail end of their careers after 20, 30 years in the public service, having used forged certificates. Were they ever asked to restitute what they had earned all through that period? Were they sentenced? They were only dismissed. And so it is even more of a motivation for somebody who said, no, try your luck before the one catch you, you don't really chop your own. So it is, I expect I expect government to be more proactive, as the minister has been now, because this is yes, of proactivity. I expect other sectors. Maybe the entrance exams for the recruitment of pupil lawyers has just been finally released. Let me tell you that there is heat under the buttocks of a good number of those who have passed now, because some of them use fake certificates from advanced level to O level to degrees, and verifications will be made now. So it is a generalized problem that we find in our system. Unfortunately, I will only urge others to like wage the war as the minister has done, so that we can curb without pretending to think that we can ever eliminate it entirely. Thinking that we can stop it is like hoping that we shall ever have a world without sin and without crime. No, it is how proactive you are to step your game and be ahead of the criminals.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sama. In one word, what do you have to tell the viewers as far as the two topics are concerned and your intent?
Well, my first point goes to the minister's endeavor to, cut down these fake certificate issues, because you can imagine this is a sector where we have gentlemen who are supposed to be the leaders of transparency. How can you imagine that gendarme will be interrogating you to put you in behind bars where he himself has the false certificate where he's standing? And secondly, that Cameroon has got to that level where people will voluntarily go with fake certificate in an office where they have to be correcting others who come behind. It's rather unfortunate. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Kudos.
Thank you so much. And to you, your final words, Doctor, in just 1 second.
Well, I just want to tell the government to learn how to. We have not been in crisis before the crisis started, and we have to still learn from other countries and other countries on how we can manage crisis, so that we don't put our population into a desperate situation. Because sometimes don't just say because they are respecting the boys, they have done this. Look at their own part as a government to protect their people, to protect them, and to make sure that the one problem we have to the government is that the money they are borrowing from the international community, we should invest those money more on job creation, so that it will create jobs and then make more people to have what they can serve as their daily bread. They can also make ease people who are suffering as far as this crisis is concerned.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. It has been an amazing ride and an amazing journey with you all, holding my hands on the program today. And if you did enjoy the program, take a rendezvous for tomorrow, 6 p.m. prompt. And up next, we have High Prime with Larry Etengene. Good night.